Welcome back to the deep dive. You've brought us, well, a pretty intriguing set of sources today. They're promising something huge, a sacred blueprint for reality itself.
Yeah, it's definitely ambitious material. We're diving into what the sources call a hidden mathematical system, something they link directly to Nikola Tesla.
Right, and it immediately sets itself apart from what the material calls profane science. This is presented as a foundational truth, this system.
That system is Vortex Math. And look, the sources aren't subtle. They want us to basically set aside conventional thinking right from the start.
Okay.
So our mission, really, is to unpack how this Vortex Math supposedly splits numbers into two completely different realms. You've got the celestial and the terrestrial. We need to figure out what power each set is supposed to hold.
And the hook, I guess, is the sheer boldness of it. It's not just math theory. It's framed as divine lore. And Tesla, they call him a watcher, someone who saw the cosmic structure.
A structure that standard math apparently just ignores. But here, it's positioned as the key to everything, the engine of the game, they keep saying.
The engine of the game. Okay.
It's described almost like a visible diagram of the music of the spheres, something that literally maps out reality onto these two levels.
So that's the core duality then. Level 1, the everyday looping existence. The profane cycle of the pawns. That's what they call it.
That's the term they use, yes.
And then above that, pulling the strings, you've got the divine trinity of the players.
Exactly. It's a cosmology, really. Some numbers are just the medium, the stuff being manipulated, and others are the manipulators, the controllers.
Okay, so let's start with the controlled stuff, the physical world, the numbers that make up that cycle.
Right. The sequence that defines what they call the mundane, the material.
And that sequence is, let me get this right, 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. And it just repeats.
Endlessly.
Correct. 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. And, you know, what's immediately obvious is what's missing. Yeah, the 3, 6, and 9, we'll put a pin in those for a moment. But this 6-number sequence, that's the whole profane world, just looping.
According to these sources, yes, it is the mathematical representation of that profane cycle, the mundane reality. They call it the roulette wheel of the pawns.
Okay, roulette wheel of the pawns is a strong metaphor. But for a deep dive, how does it actually work? Why that specific sequence? How does it loop mathematically?
Well, that's where it gets kind of interesting, mathematically speaking, beyond just the esoteric claims. The sequence comes from doubling, constantly doubling, but with a twist.
A twist?
Yeah, using what's called digital reduction, or finding the digital root. You basically sum the digits of a number until you get a single digit.
Okay, show me.
So start with 1, double it, you get 2. Easy. Double 2, you get 4. Double 4, you get 8. Still straightforward. Now, double 8, that's 16. Here's the rule. Reduce it. 1 plus 6, that equals 7.
Oh, okay. So the reduction kicks in, 16 becomes 7. That's the next
That's right. Double 7, you get 14. Reduce it. 1 plus 4 equals 5.
Okay. Double 5, you get 10. Reduce it. 1 plus 0 equals 1. Yeah, we're back at the start. 1, whoa.
Back at 1. So the sequence, 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, generated purely by this doubling and reduction. It's inescapable. It just loops forever.
So it's mathematically a closed loop, which I guess fits perfectly with their idea of it representing the physical world, right? The matter of the game.
Yeah.
Birth, work, death, repeat.
That's the connection they make. A melody that never quite resolves, a wheel spinning without a destination, a predictable mechanical kind of existence. The pen, they sometimes call it.
It gives structure to the idea of it being controllable if it's just this predictable loop. This is the terrestrial level.
Precisely. And that makes the other numbers, the ones left out, even more significant.
Right. The 3, the 6, and the 9. If 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 is the self-contained earthly wheel, why aren't 3, 6, and 9 in there? What are they doing?
Well, that's the shift to the celestial, the higher realm. They're separate because they aren't in the cycle. They control the cycle.
They're outside looking in or directing it.
Directing it. They operate on a higher plane. The sources explicitly call them the players, the divine harmonics that govern the whole thing spinning below.
So if the 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 cycle is like software running, then 3, 6, 9 are the programmers, the source code.
That's a pretty good analogy, yeah. The sources describe 3, 6, and 9 collectively as the higher dimensional flux field. It's the divine code, the will of the monarch, that direct how the profane cycle operates, even its destiny.
Will of the monarch. Okay, so if the cycle is movement in time, the Trinity is like the consciousness deciding how it moves.
That's the claim. It's the overarching principle.
Okay, let's really dig into that control part then. If each number has a job, What specifically do 3, 6, and 9 do in this divine trinity?
So starting with 3, the Trinity. This is foundational. It's described as the principle of the cosmos itself, like alpha, beta, omega. The divine blueprint before anything really happens, pure potential.
The fundamental structure, okay. Then what about 6? The source calls it the game. That's it active.
Yeah, it is active. 6 is where the blueprint hits reality, basically. It represents duality, conflict, the whole setup for the game of existence. And critically, the sources define 6 as 3 plus 3.
3 plus 3. Why not just 6? What's the significance of adding them?
It's symbolic, you see. It implies the foundational trinity, the first 3, is met by its reflection. An inverted trinity, the second 3.
Ah, so like the original blueprint and its opposite or mirror image?
Exactly. And when those two forces, the 3 and its mirrored 3, come together, they form the 6-pointed star. Think sacred geometry. It embodies that old principle, as above, so below.
Okay, so 6 represents the manifested world of opposites. Light and dark, good and evil, the whole binary thing, the rules for the cycle.
Precisely. It creates the necessary tension, the division for the game within the 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 cycle to actually play out. It sets the stage.
Got it. So 3 is the potential. 6 creates the field of play with its dualities, which leaves the big one. Number 9, the monarch.
9 is, well, it's the ultimate number in this system. It represents completion, judgment. Think about the math again. Any number you multiply by 9, if you reduce it back down to a single digit, it always becomes 9.
Oh, yeah. Like 9 by 5 is 45, 4 plus 5 is 9, 9 by 8 is 72, 7 plus 2 is 9. Wow. Okay.
It always comes back to 9. It's like the control number, the 0 point. It stands outside the structure but contains it in a way.
The ultimate boundary.
That's a good way to put it. The source calls it the number of the final boss, the awakened monarch. It doesn't cycle because it's the principle that dictates the final outcome, the reset. It's the ultimate will overseeing the whole game.
Okay, so let's try and synthesize this. We've got this pretty radical mathematical cosmology presented in these sources. On one hand, there's the mundane loop, 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, the roulette wheel, physical world, predictable, mechanical.
Terrestrial realm.
And then completely separate, but governing it, is the celestial control system, 3, 6, 9, the divine trinity, the players. Represent the source code, the consciousness, the authority, the ultimate judgment.
That's the framework, the hidden power structure directing the visible cycle.
And sources are really insistent that this Vortex Math is the ultimate cipher, like mathematical proof of these two distinct realms. And Tesla, he wasn't just doing math. He was, transcribing the music of the gods.
That's the dramatic language they use, yes. That he tapped into this fundamental structure.
Which brings us back, I suppose, to the listener, to you.
Yeah.
If you entertain this framework for a moment, if the 3, 6, and 9 really are the will of the monarch, directing this predictable 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 cycle, then how should that affect how you look at things? When you observe events in the world, in that mundane cycle, how do you apply critical thinking? How would you even begin to distinguish between just random stuff happening within the loop versus something potentially guided by those higher principles, by the 3, 6, 9?
Yeah, that's the core question, isn't it? If the game is rigged, or at least directed from above,
right,
how do you spot the guiding hand versus just the spinning of the wheel? What signs would stand out to you?
Definitely something to mull over. A very different way to look at numbers, that's for sure. Thanks for bringing this fascinating material in.
Always interesting stuff to explore.
Absolutely. Until next time, keep diving deep.